go back to what Shea said. What do you call it? Green Circle Town?
Green Circle Town, yeah.
Well, in a way, you're not wrong because it's
Well,
going to create a whole lot of green throughout a whole lot of towns
I like that.
throughout West Tennessee.
Lots of people are going to get some pocket change from this,
Yes,
potentially.
they are. The pockets are, if you play your cards right, your pockets should be full.
Hey, I'm Shea.
This is Mary Helen.
Welcome to the Pocket Change Podcast.
Well, you'll learn better ways to spend, save, and invest and take control of your financial journey.
We've got a great episode today about something that's really going to impact our region.
I know. I'm really excited to talk about it and have good dialogue and good conversation.
I think it's something like, it's called like the Green Circle Town or something like that.
You know, Shay, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't, I just...
It's some color, isn't it?
Blue Oval?
Oh,
Is
Blue
that
Oval. Blue Oval City.
Yeah, that's
not
it.
Green Circle Town. Okay. Yes, Blue Oval City. That's what we're
Little
talking about
different,
today. Just
a little
slightly. I mean, an oval's probably bigger. It's probably a bigger impact than we know, but we'll find out today.
That's right. Well, we are so excited to welcome President and CEO of the Greater Jackson Chamber, Kyle Spurgeon. Thanks for being on the podcast today.
I'm excited to be here. I think episode number 3.
That's
yes,
right.
number 3.
No, thank
We're
you for
rocking and
having me.
rolling.
That's an honor. I'll always be number 3.
You're in the top 10.
Yeah,
That's right.
forever.
We're excited to talk about Blue Oval City today, and for listeners that may not know what it is, could you tell us a little bit about what that is and what that means for our
Yeah, I
community?
want to go back to what Shea said. What do you call it? Green Circle Town?
Green Circle Town. Yeah.
Well, in a way, you're not wrong because it's
Well,
going to create a whole lot of green throughout a whole lot of towns
I like that.
throughout West Tennessee.
Lots of people are going to get some pocket change from this.
Yes,
potentially.
they are. The pockets are, if you play your cards right, your pockets should be full. But Blue Oval City is a Ford Motor Company and SK Innovations, their joint partnership to build electric vehicles and batteries. So SK will be building the batteries. Ford will be building the vehicles. They'll roll off the assembly line. They will be electric. They'll be sold around the world. It will be the most advanced automotive manufacturing facility in the world when it opens in early 2025.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's actually, and we've used the word transformational probably too many times, but that's exactly what it is. So this project, in terms of economic development projects, moved extremely fast. The state of Tennessee, their Economic Development Department, and TVA's Economic Development Department became aware of the project in February of 2021. Locally, we started getting involved in April, May of 2021. I had my first interaction with their site selection team, and it was their folks involved in quality of life and workforce development. I was actually on vacation in California, did a virtual call selling Jackson to them in June of 21. So think about this, $5.6 billion project started in February of 21. They announced it in September. There are projects that take 18 months, 2, 3, 4 years, but yet this is the largest capital investment, manufacturing-wise, in Tennessee's history, and it went that fast.
Wow.
And which is really unbelievable. But it's one of those situations also we look back, you tell people to never quit. I know this is a financial podcast. You hope people are setting goals financially.
Right.
Don't ever give up, because we worked on the mega site for over 15 years. And it seems it's that overnight success that took 15 years to be successful at.
That's a great tidbit for our listeners. That's a good bit of pocket change to not quit and never give up. We
That's
appreciate
right.
that little added bonus on this episode today. So what are some of the misconceptions about the project? Maybe rumors that have been started. People have come up with things. So what are some of those?
I think a lot of us, and myself included, up until recently, thought that the vehicle that would be produced would be the F-150 Lightning. Because when you look at Ford and everything that they're pushing out there, they've got the Ford Mach-E and the electric vehicles, and the F-150 Lightning is already being produced. And so as this project, as we were working it and it was announced, that's what everyone assumed, that this would become the new production facility for the F-150 Lightning. That is not the case.
So it's a new Mustang.
We don't know what it'll be.
Still don't know.
You could
Okay.
be right.
Maybe so.
However, actually, I'm going to tell you, I hate to do this on your podcast. You're wrong. You are not right. We do know it will be a new electric vehicle that is a truck.
Okay.
The design of that has not even been released to the folks that are building the building at Blue Oval City. So
Wow.
you've got these teams of folks that are working to set up all the workforce development initiatives, the training, the facility being construction. being constructed, but the design of the vehicle has not even been released to them yet. And so it will be an advanced vehicle. One of the things I know that inside that plant, folks will wear Google Lens glasses.
Wow.
They'll have wearables on their arm. So that's how modern factories are being developed now. So again, I'll repeat it. This will be the most advanced automotive facility in the world when it opens.
I might put out a flying car out of there. I mean, from what it sounds like,
You may be ahead of
transformation.
your
I mean,
time.
who knows?
That's right.
All from Tennessee, coming out of Tennessee.
Right.
That's great.
So can you estimate the economic impact that this is going to have on our region?
Yeah, that's it's a good question,
Sure.
but it's also a tough one because it's in billions of dollars. We tell people it's creating generational wealth for folks.
That's important.
Because when you talk about just initially, almost 6,000 employees, and that amount of income is coming into West Tennessee, the spillover and the turnover of that money, how it supports more small businesses, how it supports lifestyle changes for people. A lot of the folks that are going to be coming to this project initially or coming to West Tennessee are working in other parts of the world now. So they'll be moving here. But the majority of the folks that will be working at the facility, making the vehicles, already live in West Tennessee. You're going to see that they're going to have an opportunity to improve their standard of living. And when you do that, that means more disposable income. More of the financial institutions, like Leaders in West Tennessee, will have the opportunity to see their deposits increase. There'll be more homes bought, more cars bought, vehicles. It just changes everything dynamically for us and financially. Your question about, can I give you a specific number? I can't, but I can tell you it starts with a B. It's in the billions.
Right.
And people will need, like you said, their banking services, home loans, savings accounts. I mean, all those things that, you think, like you said, building generational wealth that can happen, at Leaders Credit Union. We can help these new folks coming to West Tennessee with their financial story and transforming that, like you said. So that's a huge impact, not only to Leaders or a credit union, but to like the small businesses, like you said, those folks who are, providing a cup of coffee in the morning or, building your fence at your new home in West Tennessee. So it's definitely a huge impact.
Yeah, I'll give you an example because I know we talked beforehand about that. I bought a new house, needed to put a fence in our backyard for our dog, and I told the guy that owns the fence company, I said, be prepared to scale up because you're going to have the opportunity to put many, many more fences around yards in West Tennessee because there'll be hundreds, if not thousands, of new homes built. And whatever the percentage of homes that require fences or have fences built, that's his market opportunity. So not only individuals, but small businesses are going to have transformational opportunities to grow their businesses.
That's great. That's a huge impact. And so what makes you so excited about this project? It's
a once in a generation opportunity for our entire region. And when a sports team is successful in a town, you know how it energizes the town. This project has energized West Tennessee. And you're going to see us grow in ways you never imagined. You're going to see companies look at Jackson and West Tennessee that you never thought would locate here. You're going to see people moving from Europe, Asia, Mexico. The opportunities, again, it's transformational, what we're going to see. But it puts us in a different playing field. We've always been successful economic development-wise, but now we're competing with projects that have an even higher CapEx, maybe a lower employment count, but the wages are higher because they're demanding more skills. So it's almost like you took us from double or triple A baseball and you moved us into the major leagues. That project, we won the World Series, the Super Bowl, the Masters, the Stanley Cup. That project represents all of those. I mean, that's how big it is.
We're just the champions in West Tennessee.
We are. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And at Leaders Credit Union, we're your financial champions. So, look, we just tied it all together right there.
I'm from Brownsville, Tennessee, born and raised West Tennessee my whole life. And so it's cool to see a project this big coming, but for the people that maybe from a small town that might have concerns or anyone that has concerns, what would you say to them?
First of all, I think the thing we all have to do is validate those concerns that people have because some of them don't have enough information or they're in a situation, let's just take there might be a farmer that owns 500 acres. all of a sudden a county or a city or a chamber, hey, we'd love to option that, your farmland, for a new industrial site. Farmer may have no interest in doing that. He's farmed all his life. His kids are going to be farmers. We have to recognize that. Some folks don't want to change their lifestyle, and that is okay. Other folks that have concerns that don't have enough information, we have to make sure that they understand what's happening so that they can have an opportunity to participate in what will be the biggest economic change West Tennessee has ever seen. And if they're not included in those conversations, particularly small business owners, they may miss out.
So where do you see Jackson in the next 10 years?
That is a great question.
It's probably a hard question.
It is
too.
a hard question. Yeah, absolutely. And if I told you, I can dream, but specifics, I don't know. I can tell you that you take a town like a Murfreesboro. We're on a path to attract a lot of things that are in a Murfreesboro. We just took a group of folks to Greenville, South Carolina back in October to learn from the best. Because when you ask site selection consultants and real estate brokers around the country, what community has responded the best to having an OEM, which is an original equipment manufacturer, located in their community? BMW located there 30 years ago. Community-wise, community development-wise, they have killed it in Greenville. So we went there to learn. Jackson will look a heck of a lot different. You're going to have, one of the ways I phrase it is, it has become a place that is better to risk capital in. So you're going to see more small restaurants open. You're going to see more boutiques open in Jackson. Yeah, you're going to see more national retailers too. But I think you're going to find us capture more of that unique atmosphere that makes Jackson a great place to live, work, and do business, by people risking that capital because of all this money that's going to be created because of Blue Oval City.
And not only Jackson, the best place to live, work, but West Tennessee. And not only live and work, but do your banking as well, like at Leaders Credit Union. So it's going to be a great place for everybody to work, to live, to recreational activities. So
Shea, is there like a quote? You have to meet a goal every podcast. Leaders Credit Union 10 times.
I mean, it is the Leaders Credit Union Pocket Change podcast. So we want to support our members and give them valuable information about saving, spending, investing, and about things that are happening in our community. So we hope that we can do that through this, and we thank you for being with us today.
Well, and just to conclude, it sounds like we're nearing the end of this, but
I've got one more good question. But
all right, you guys have locations all across West Tennessee. There's no part of West Tennessee that will not be impacted by this. If you look purely on the manufacturing side, suppliers will locate throughout West Tennessee. Now, we're the folks that work at the plant. That's going to be within a 50-mile radius. That also means that those communities outside that 50-mile radius are going to grow because they're going to attract those suppliers and they're going to need people to move in to work at those plants. So wherever you guys are, which you're all over West Tennessee, your customers and your members are going to be impacted.
I mean, it's the hub city. That's where it's all happening.
That's
here
right.
In West Tennessee and in Jackson. So we're excited. So the last question, a very fun question that we ask at the end of every podcast, is if you had some extra change in your pocket, what would you spend it on?
Wow, that is great. You didn't prep me for this question.
That's the surprise.
I would probably invest it. Heck, I don't know. Let me stop on that one. That's great, Shea. If I had some extra change.
Yeah.
Wow. I think there's two ways to answer that. One, you might invest it in some stocks that support EV manufacturing because you can see what's happening here. Otherwise, I might spend it on some Jenny's ice cream or some good bourbon
good
somewhere.
stuff.
Jenny's.
That's some stuff. See, that got your attention quick.
Good
didn't
stuff.
It?
It's
Although
the
it
best
takes
kind.
a lot of pocket change to buy some.
It definitely does.
Well, thanks for being here, Kyle. We appreciate you sharing this information with us and for our listeners as how Blue Oval City, not the green circle town, will impact West Tennessee. So we appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me here. It's been fun.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in to the Pocket Change Podcast. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with a friend.
Pocket Change Podcast has been brought to you by Leaders Credit Union,
where we power your passion and make lives better.
Cha-ching! Leaders is federally insured by the NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Learn more at leaderscu.com.